It's been a huge last month with a bunch of really awesome updates that I know myself, Andrew, and the rest of the team at SX are super excited about. So we got Andrew here with me, of course. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what's been going on the last month, what's sort of new and happening at SX, and recap that.
Yeah, it's been a big couple of weeks for the SX community. Obviously, the first thing was the SX merge went live without a hitch, which was awesome. So with the SX merge, now essentially anyone can become a validator, and validators themselves now take control of essentially both securing the chain, but then also essentially reporting games and ingesting sort of the data to report markets. So that's part of our plan to essentially decentralize creation and reporting of betting markets on SX, as well as decentralize the validator set and make it more secure. With that as well, all sort of protocol value that's generated on the SX Bet application is now also paid out to validators, which gives SX quote unquote a real yield, which has been great to see. Previous to the SX merge, I think there was roughly like 140 million SX staked. And I believe looking up this morning, it looks like we're almost up to 110 million back, which is great to see. So pretty much, a month later, everyone's back to staking and earning yields. And we're up to, I believe, 9 validators with a couple more in the pipeline and 160 delegators, which is just awesome to see. So yeah, really, really exciting. Happy to see everyone sort of figured out the new staking UI, was able to migrate their SX over, and just continue decentralizing the protocol, making the chain more secure, and really making us poised for huge growth in Q4.
Yeah, it's been pretty sweet to see Unroll, especially being somewhat newer here, and maybe even just like a little bit more about at least from my perspective, if I was new, I would definitely want to hear a little bit about like how drip staking is playing into that and how that's or like what's cool about that basically. If you want to go into that a little bit too.
Yeah, so the way it works essentially is you can claim your yield, or you can essentially compound it automatically into more SX, which then restakes it. So that's great to see. It just makes it kind of easier if you're looking to build your SX position over time. Or of course, you can just claim the yield and throw it on a super degen parlay. That's also possible. So yeah, it's just kind of like something that makes it easier. And I think right now, sort of going through the numbers, it looks like roughly 70% total SX staked has been using sort of the auto compounder drip feature, which is great to see. It seems like people are very optimistic on everything that's being built.
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're seeing that reflected in volume. Volume has been up and growing, especially with sports coming back pretty hard now. It's been a bit of a slow off season, but I'm super excited for everything to be coming back now. And in terms of like other few things, we saw our new analytics page come in, which is like absolutely gorgeous and gives some people some great insights, especially if they're brand new. So I'm just gonna share this here as well.
So the analytics page is awesome. I definitely recommend anyone to check it out if they haven't seen it. Essentially, it's a tokenomics dashboard, so you can see all the different, how the supply of SX is broken down between community funds, time locked, what's circulating, what's staked, what's LP'd, as well as sort of goes over SharkSwap liquidity. It shows the percentage vested over time, as well as just kind of all sorts of cool data. So I know a lot of people have been asking about that, and just happy to have that out as well. Seems like a lot of people are using it.
Yeah, for sure. So like everything you just went through has been a pretty awesome month, and absolutely action packed on our side, trying to ship new features and improve the site constantly. But we've definitely got some pretty awesome things coming up in the pipeline as well. So maybe I'll let you share a few secrets there.
Yeah, exactly. So the summer we focused, besides the merge, we mostly focused on crushing bugs, which I think we have to a certain extent. We've made the platform a lot more stable. And then, of course, with the merge, just making it more decentralized and more secure. So now we're focused mostly on growing the platform and scaling up users and liquidity. So the first big thing is we are looking into making SX go fully cross-chain. So this is different from multi-chain, which is where you sort of deploy the dApp onto a number of different chains and essentially fragment the liquidity each time you do. So like you'd have to get all new market makers or the same market makers, but they'd have to bridge funds over. And that's kind of like the approach that most projects do, just because it is a lot more simple and in some respects more capital efficient. What we're going to be doing is fully cross-chain. So what I mean by that is all of the market makers and liquidity will stay on SX chain, and then effectively we'll deploy almost like a skin or an instance of SX onto other EVM chains, targeting mostly new and popular L2s. And essentially, when you make a trade on one of these other L2s, you're betting against this pool of capital on the L2, and then we essentially relay the bet over to SX chain. So any trades on any of these other chains still hit the sort of core liquidity pool on SX chain, which is great because it essentially concentrates all liquidity in one space instead of fragmenting it, and it makes each new chain additive instead of subtractive to the overall sort of network effects of the platform. And sort of what we've seen is SX chain is awesome. I mean, we originally launched SX on Ethereum mainnet back in March 2019. And it was just, it was the only thing that was usable at the time. And it was pretty hard to use for average users. And then Ethereum gas costs went too high. And so we were one of the first, if not the first dApp on Polygon POS. This would have been October 2020. And that was great. I mean, Polygon POS allowed us to sort of scale and actually have real usage of the platform. But again, over time, we sort of realized that it wasn't a permanent home for SX, and we were kind of just sick of not having control over our own gas costs and not effectively having like our own sovereign chain. So we ended up launching SX chain about a year and a half ago to be that permanent home. And it's been amazing. I think like in terms of stability and all sorts of things like that, like having control over your own future is incredibly important. And I think moving forward, more sort of category leading dApps will launch their own chains. We're starting to see that with DYDX and Cosmos. And I think, but I think the big issue with going on your own app chain is you lose the distribution benefits of going on tons of other chains. So you lose access to, users that want to stay on XYZ chain. They don't want to bridge to some chain they've never heard about. And so I think that's always hurt us a lot in terms of adoption and growth. And so now that we have kind of our own app chain, with the second piece of sort of the overall vision is now coming to fruition, which is launching SX on other L2s. And it's also, in my opinion, been timed up pretty well because there's a huge influx of new L2s into the market that have all become quite popular in the last kind of 6 to 12 months. And there's just even more coming. I think there'll be probably by this time next year, there'll be, over 50 L2s, maybe even more. And so we're really well positioned to essentially capitalize on that growth, particularly because we're in a market where there are way more chains than there are apps. Or I should say there's way more chains than there are sort of good apps. And so we can kind of take advantage of our category leading spot and essentially grow with new chains. And so, yeah, I'm extremely excited about it. I think it's probably the biggest lever we have for growth. And it's also, timing up well with what I hope is a new crypto bull market soon. So yeah, I'm super excited about that. We're looking at which L2s to launch on first. I mean, kind of the obvious names like things like Arbitrum or Optimism are sort of at the top of the list, but there's a ton of new L2s that are pretty exciting and maybe offer kind of even more avenues to grow. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to, if we could just kind of launch on a new L2 or whatnot, and kind of just see how it goes. And then if it's really successful, then just kind of replay that playbook over time.
Yeah, for sure. I think, especially from my perspective, seeing helping a lot of people out. I'm sure at least a handful of you probably talked to me on support before. Bridging tends to be one of the biggest roadblocks for new people, especially if they're unfamiliar. The idea of a bridge is quite foreign. So I'm definitely excited to see cross chain coming in there, and like you said, like the aspect of familiarity rather than bridging to a chain that you've never heard before. And for a lot of people, with the nature of our platform, depositing a large amount of money, so that's super exciting, and I can't wait to see that come into action. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of like other new things coming down the pipeline, anything else like specific that you wanted to sort of get into today? I know like we have
Yeah.
maybe on smaller things like more sports specific, like for our less DeFi focused crowd, and our more sports specific crowd, we have some other exciting things coming too. So yeah, maybe jump into some of those.
Yeah. So the big thing is our long-awaited launch of Cash Out, which is almost kind of like a meme in the SX ecosystem, because it's incredibly difficult to do cash out in a non-custodial platform, particularly because, I mean, we don't need to get into it, but there's sort of ways to game it and all sorts of ways. I think we finally have a design that we feel pretty confident about, and we're hoping to get that out without too much of a sort of contract redeploy or anything like that in the upcoming months. I don't have a firm timeline yet, but we do have it on sort of, or at least I should say we have the back end on testnet, which is awesome to see. And so, yeah, I mean, that will require a ton of testing because it sort of affects the core logic of the site. But yeah, I mean, that's obviously amazing. Cash out is, for people that don't know, is essentially the ability to sell your bet. So you can essentially cash out of your position before it settles, and then use that liquidity to continue trading. So yeah, I mean, it's just like a huge feature, long overdue, that we're really excited to finally get out, and I think that will sort of meaningfully increase capital efficiency for for traders, market makers, everyone. And really make the platform more of like a trading exchange versus just kind of like a betting platform. And it also opens the door for other features that I'm even more excited about that will be coming in hopefully 2024. Besides that, just looking for more markets, more sports markets, alternative spreads has just been kind of a thing that everyone asks for all the time. So definitely looking for that. Some new UI upgrades. Our team did, I think, a great job over the summer, pretty dramatically improving the look and user interface of the SXBet platform. And there's still a couple things left to do there. And so, yeah, excited to get those out, make it just that much easier to use. And yeah, I think the team, I mean, I sort of said this earlier, I think the core team's been sort of shipping at the fastest pace we've ever done, which has been awesome to see. I think the team's really sort of hit its stride. It seems like the bear market is always the best time to actually get things done. And yeah, the community has been obviously hugely supportive as well. I mean, this has been a very long-term project. We've been doing this for over 5 years. So yeah, it's not really our first bear market, but it's good to see everyone keeping their spirits high.
Yeah, for sure. And specific to cash outs, I have to say I'm most excited for those because it makes it a lot easier to take a longer term futures bet or something like that, and opens up the doors on like the novelty side of things too, to launch some crazy stuff and then not actually have your capital locked up for a long time there. So apart from being capital efficient and being able to be more free with your funds, opens the door to some new offerings that we can start getting out there, which might not always be the sharpest bets for me at least, but are a lot of fun to play with. So I'm excited for that with cash outs as well. Yeah. So in terms of new stuff, I think that covers as much as we might be sharing today. But
so yeah, Declan, what are your NFL picks? The people want alpha. Give us some alpha for the weekend.
I'm absolutely terrible on NFL as somebody who's not been on NFL for very long. Football has always been tough for me because I enjoy getting out there on my Sunday. But nevertheless, this has been an exciting start to the season, and I'm all on the Tua wave. I don't have a team, so my loyalty lies lies to no city. And I'm loving watching Tua play, and that blowout yesterday or the other day was insane. So I'm just going to bandwagon along there for now and have fun doing it. Otherwise, also bandwagon Eagles.
Nice. Yeah, the Eagles look pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good right now. I mean, yeah, the Dolphins, they hung 70, right, last week. That was pretty insane.
And it was an all yard, an NFL like all yardage record as well, which was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, just a couple last things. I think one is I just like pretty excited. It looks like this week will be our highest volume week since in the last almost 6 months. So great to see everyone coming back. It also looks like there's a bunch of sort of betting tournaments coming on. There's the $42,000 69 SX Punter Championship. So that's like a season-long NFL tournament that's currently on, as well as like the weekly $1,000 Ricky Bobby tournaments. So those are like profit-based for NFL. If you come first, you win $500. If you come last, you win $500. And then there's also a hockey tournament coming up, and then there's also a $10,000 NBA opening week of NBA tournament coming up. So tons of
and one for World Series as well. We also have $10,000 World Series going.
Nice. Yeah, I'm so bad at betting baseball, so I can't even pretend to know anything about that. But we need UFC to come back. It's the bread and butter. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nothing specific. I think we tend to keep things fast moving and efficient, just like this space. So that about covers everything. But yeah, if anybody else has any like comments or questions or things that they wanted us to chat about briefly, like feel free to send those in the chat, and we can run over them quickly if anybody else has anything. And also, if you guys enjoy the live stream format, it'll be uploaded and recorded to YouTube as well. If you guys enjoy the live stream format, please let us know in the Discord, and we'll keep doing that. Or if another platform's easier, then we can adjust it moving forward. But it's great to get a bunch of you guys in here live as well, and then we can make it a bit more of an open discussion in the future if people have things that they're willing to ask or stuff. Player props when.
Yeah, I think. We're looking into sort of more markets. The sort of troll box and OTC stuff has been a huge driver of volume recently. So looking to make the troll box even easier to use. We sort of pushed an upgrade to make it a little bit more functional than it was before. But there's still a lot of stuff we need to do. We need to add notifications. We need to add some sort of Telegram notifications effectively. Maybe some like basic stuff like, again, sound notifications, just more notifications because people continually miss stuff. I do want to give a quick shout out actually to the SX SX-lab.bet website. It's awesome if you haven't seen it. And they were able to sort of redeploy when we did the upgrade in the summer, which has been awesome to see, as well as the SX Sharks, sx-sharks.xyz website, which has also been sort of migrated over. It's great to see those tools sort of pop up in the ecosystem. There's a couple more sort of projects that have been worked on by other teams that are really excited to announce. We'll save that for the next podcast. But things to make it easier to market make. There's some people are working on more sort of analytics or even validator stuff. So so just really excited to get all that tooling out into the. I think one of the big advantages of building a Web3 platform in general is that it makes it easier to essentially create their own. Sorry, notifications are on. Create their own sort of tooling and infrastructure on top, which is awesome. So yeah, super excited. I think I'm really excited for the next kind of 12 months. I would like another kind of 3 to 6 more months of crypto bear so we can continue building our lead, and then up only hopefully in crypto space in 2024.
Yeah, it's gonna be an exciting and a roller coaster of a macro environment, I think. But hopefully, all of it gets timed just perfectly for us. And one other thing before we head out here, we'll have a meme contest coming in next week. So save your best jokes that you're sending in the chat for some out of pocket memes next week, and a chance to win some prizes. Yeah, so stay tuned, and thanks for coming out, guys. Anything else?
Yeah, no, same thing. Thanks for coming, everyone, and we'll try to do this again. We're able to get this started at, I think, 12:07, so we're only 7 minutes behind. That's got to be a new record for us.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll do this again, and we'll get questions from everyone for the next one. So it should be good.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much for coming out, and yeah, this will be uploaded to YouTube as well. See you guys.